The office was quiet, but the air felt heavy with the kind of loneliness money couldn't fix. It was Christmas Eve, and while the city outside twinkled with lights, inside the towering glass building, the CEO of a billion-dollar company sat alone, scrolling through emails and missing a holiday he hadn't cared about in years. Success had come at a cost, family, friends, even laughter, and now the ticking clock reminded him of every moment he'd let slip by. Meanwhile, miles away in a small bustling garage, a humble mechanic wiped his hands on a rag as his little daughter bounced around, humming Christmas carols and leaving a trail of giggles behind her. To them, Christmas was about warmth, hope, and simple joys, things the CEO had long forgotten. But fate has a strange way of connecting worlds. One broken car, a last-minute repair, and a chance encounter would soon bring this busy executive face-to-face with a spark of something he hadn't felt in years. Genuine human connection. As the mechanic worked, the little girl's laughter filled the garage, weaving magic into every turn of the wrench. The CEO, on his way to another sterile holiday dinner he didn't want, would step into that garage without knowing his heart was about to be repaired in ways no boardroom deal ever could. What happens when the most unexpected people remind a man of everything he's been missing? And will he even notice until it's too late? The answer is coming, and it begins with a simple, unexpected act of kindness. The CEO had always been known for his sharp mind and unshakable schedule. But behind the polished suits and corner office windows, there was a man who hadn't smiled at a genuine joke in years. Christmas had always been another task on his list, something to check off between meetings and conference calls. He didn't realize how hollow that made him feel until he saw the mechanic and his little girl in the dimly lit garage. The mechanic, a kind-hearted man named Jack, had grown up believing in hard work, honesty, and small miracles. His daughter, Lily, with her bright eyes and endless curiosity, had a way of noticing things others overlooked. She had already formed a quiet attachment to the world of strangers, imagining stories for each person who walked past their shop, but she had never met anyone like the CEO, someone so closed off, yet carrying a storm of unspoken regrets. As the CEO's car sputtered to a stop in front of the garage, he barely noticed the jingling bell on the door. Jack greeted him with a nod, but it was Lily's small hand tugging at her father's sleeve that caught his attention. "Can we help him, Daddy?" she asked, eyes wide and serious. It was the kind of question that carried innocence and hope, the kind that could unsettle even the most guarded hearts. The CEO hesitated. Something about the garage felt different, warmer, and he felt a strange pull he couldn't explain. He had no idea that stepping inside would uncover memories he had buried long ago and perhaps force him to face choices he thought were behind him. The air was thick with anticipation, and in that quiet, ordinary garage, change was already beginning. The CEO lingered at the garage entrance, unsure why he hadn't just driven away. Jack crouched by the car, examining the engine with practiced hands, while Lily circled around, her small voice filling the space with questions about every tool and bolt. "Why is this car broken?" she asked. "Will it be fixed in time for Christmas?" Her innocence struck a chord deep inside him, and for the first time in years, he felt the faint ache of longing not for gifts or parties, but for connection. Jack noticed the hesitation in the CEO's stance. "It's just a loose part," he said, wiping grease from his hands. "Shouldn't take long." But sometimes the car's problems aren't just under the hood. The words hung in the air, unintentionally echoing something larger. The CEO's mind flashed to his own life, the deals he had made at the expense of family dinners, the friendships that had faded, the hollow holidays spent alone in the office. Lily tugged at his coat. "Do you like Christmas?" she asked softly. The simplicity of the question felt like a challenge. He realized he didn't really know anymore. He had become a stranger to joy, to the small moments that made life bearable. Meanwhile, Jack was not just repairing a car. He was watching the CEO struggle in a way he couldn't quite articulate. He sensed that beneath the tailored suit and confident posture, there was a man who had built walls so high, he had forgotten how to live freely. And Lily, unaware of the complexities she was brushing against, kept offering little pieces of herself, her laughter, her questions, her hope. The garage seemed to pulse with possibilities, yet the CEO remained on the edge. Torn between leaving and stepping further into a world he had long ignored, something was shifting. But neither he nor the mechanic realized just how much the smallest gestures could upend the life of a man who thought he was too busy for Christmas. The garage grew quieter as the evening deepened, the soft hum of the city outside fading into a distant murmur. The CEO stood closer to the car now, watching Jack work with quiet precision. But it wasn't the mechanics that held his attention. It was Lily. She had perched on a stool nearby, carefully arranging tiny scraps of paper into what looked like a makeshift Christmas tree, her face glowing with concentration. Every so often, she glanced at him, offering a tentative smile that seemed to pierce through years of walls he had built around his heart. Jack glanced up, noticing the subtle change in the CEO's posture. "You know," he said, tightening a bolt, "sometimes fixing a car is easy. Fixing what's inside, that's the hard part." His words weren't directed at him, but the CEO felt the sting all the same. Memories he had tried to bury began surfacing. Forgotten birthdays, empty family dinners, the laughter of children he had never made time for. Lily's voice broke the tension. "Do you want to help me hang the star?" she asked, holding up a glittering paper cutout. He froze, unsure what to say, caught between the instinct to retreat and the strange pull to participate. It was a small gesture, but in that moment, it felt monumental. The garage door rattled, and the wind swept in a flurry of snow, coating the concrete floor with icy flakes. The CEO felt a surge of something unfamiliar: vulnerability, curiosity, and a hint of hope all at once. For the first time in years, he realized that this night, this garage, these two strangers, might force him to face the emptiness he had long ignored. But before he could take a step, the car's engine coughed violently, startling everyone. Sparks flew, the lights flickered, and a tense silence fell. In that instant, everything hung on a knife's edge: the CEO's carefully controlled world, the little girl's innocent hope, and the mechanic's quiet faith, all teetering toward a moment that could change them forever. The sudden spark from the engine left everyone frozen, and for a moment, the CEO's pulse raced faster than it had in years. But as the smoke cleared, something unexpected caught his eye: an envelope tucked under the windshield wiper, fluttering against the cold wind. He bent down, curious despite himself, and pulled it free. The handwriting was unfamiliar, elegant, and urgent, and the words inside made his stomach twist. A message from someone he thought he had long left behind. A reminder of a decision he had made years ago that still carried consequences. Jack glanced up, noticing the tension in the CEO's face. "Everything okay?" he asked, his voice cautious. But the CEO couldn't respond. The envelope felt heavier than any boardroom contract, heavier even than the guilt he had carried for so long. Lily's small hand brushed against his sleeve, breaking through the sudden panic. "Are you going to be okay?" she asked, her voice small but steady. Her concern pulled at something he hadn't felt in decades: a need to protect, to act, to face what he had avoided. Outside, the snow intensified, and the garage seemed suddenly smaller, the world pressing in from all sides. The CEO realized that the night was no longer just about a broken car or a lonely holiday. It was about choices, mistakes, and a life that could still be repaired, if only he could step past fear. Jack tightened a wrench, sensing something had shifted. "Looks like this one might be trickier than I thought," he muttered. But even he didn't know just how complex the night was about to become. The envelope, the unexpected encounter, and the warmth of a little girl's trust had combined into something that could either heal or shatter the CEO's carefully constructed life, and the answer was still hanging just out of reach. CEO's hands trembled as he opened the envelope fully, revealing a simple note: "It's never too late to make things right." There was no signature, no explanation, just those words, like a gentle nudge to his conscience. For the first time in years, he felt something crack open inside him. He looked at Jack, who was still bent over the engine, and then at Lily, her wide eyes full of hope. The weight of his loneliness, his regrets, and the hollow holidays suddenly pressed against him all at once. He took a deep breath and knelt beside Lily, helping her place the final star atop her paper tree. It was small, imperfect, and glowing under the garage lights, a reflection of something bigger. In that moment, he realized that success had never been measured in profits or deals, but in connection, kindness, and shared moments. Jack looked on, smiling quietly, recognizing that the true repair tonight wasn't the car, it was a man's heart. The CEO felt a warmth he hadn't felt in years, laughter bubbling up naturally as he joined in Lily's carols. He realized he had been too busy for Christmas for far too long, and as the snow swirled outside, he promised himself and Lily that this holiday, and everyone after, would be different. Then, just as the moment felt complete, the garage door rattled again. A sleek black car pulled up, and out stepped someone familiar, the person who had sent the note. Their arrival was unexpected, and their eyes held secrets that could change everything the CEO thought he had resolved tonight. The warmth and hope he felt now mingled with uncertainty, leaving the night wide open for the next chapter of his life.